Hello students, welcome you all to the Rapid Revision Route. So in this video, we are going to revise the topic registration. Yes, registration, section number 22 to section number 30 are covered in this chapter. Yes, so this is section number 22. Yes, before going to registration, proceeding with this chapter, I want to tell you one thing. See, this chapter is being divided into two parts. One part talks about the liability to register. Yes, it talks about whether that person is liable to register or not. And the second part tells that if the person is liable to register, then he should follow the procedure to register. These are the two parts. And first part, if you fulfill this first part, then only you can go for the second part. So liable to register, if you are liable to register, then only you can follow the procedure to register. Now, with these two parts, all the sections are divided. So when we are talking about section number 22, 23 and 24, this section covers the portion number 1, liable to register. These sections will decide whether the person is liable for registration or not. And from section number 25 to section number 30, this portion will decide what procedure you should follow for registration. The cancellation procedure, amendment procedure, these are procedural sections. Yes. Now, coming towards the first part, here, section number 22, 23 and 24. As I told you that this sections tells you about whether that person is liable for registration or not. Now here, when we are seeing the section number 22, it tells it liable for registration. 23, not liable for registration. 24, compulsory registration. Now here, let's start with section number 22. Here see, section number 22. It is again bifurcated in two ways: exclusive supply of goods and service and goods mix or only services. When you are talking about only and only supplying the goods, this column will apply. And when you are talking about goods plus service or only service, then the second column will apply. Now, see the thing, this rows are being distributed on state wise. First of all, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, Nagaland. If a person is making supplies in this state, then this aggregate turnover will be applicable. 10 lakhs, 10 lakhs in both the cases. And when the person is supplying in the states, Puducherry, Uttarakhand, Meghalaya, Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Telangana, in that case, in both the columns, 20 lakhs, 20 lakhs, aggregate turnover threshold limit will be applicable. Now, anytime if that person crosses this threshold limits, he will become liable for registration. Yes, as soon as the limits are crossed, that person will become liable for registration. Now, see here, you have to learn this. Yes, state-wise. See here, MMT say Nagaland. He went to Nagaland from MMT. Now, second one, Puma ST, P-U-M-A-S-T. And any states, after this states, the remaining one will come under row number 3. Now, in this third row, the limit is 40 lakhs and 20 lakhs. The limit is 40 lakhs and 20 lakhs. 40 lakhs in case you are supplying only and only goods, not a single rupees of service except only one service. Only one service we are going to apply here. Yes, we are going to allow you only one service. This is this one. Person deemed to be exclusive supplier of goods, even if received interest, discount on loans, advances, deposit. This type of service. Again, I want to remind you this thing, then that this service was also excluded in the composition scheme from aggregate turnover, state turnover, allowed services, marginal supply service. If you remember, even if you remember or not. Yes, we have also excluded this service from there. And now also, along with the exclusive supply of goods, we are allowing you this service here also. Even though along with goods you are supplying this service, we will consider that you are supplying goods only, and accordingly 40 lakhs limit will be applicable. Other than this, if any services you are supplying, then this 40 lakh limits will become 20 lakhs. It will become 20 lakhs. Now, this 40 lakhs limit also does not apply in the following cases. Number one, when the person is the supplier of notified goods. This thing we have discussed earlier in the composition scheme. There also there were notified goods, no? Pan masala, tobacco, ice cream. Yes, remember or not? Only one product is missing here. The whole list is same. As of composition scheme, the whole list is same. Only one product is missing. There is aerated drinking water. That is aerated drinking water. Aerated drinking water is not covered under this list. Other items of composition scheme notified goods are covered under this portion. Now, when the supplier is of notified goods, in that case, 40 lakhs limit will not be applicable. So what, sir? Instead of 40 lakhs, can we get to 20 lakhs? Yes, that limit by default will be applicable in this case of supplies of notified goods. Now, when the person is required to take compulsory registration, in that case, no limit will be applicable. Either 40, 20, 10, no limit will be applicable. From a single rupee itself, the person will be compulsory liable for registration. And if taking voluntary registration, without voluntary registration, there is no sense of limit. There is no sense of limit. The person is having the mood to get registered, you get registered. Then no limit will apply. So this is all about section number 22. Now coming towards section number 23. Section number 23 talks about 4 activities where not liable for registration. Even though the turnover threshold limit is crossed, exceeded, then also these people are not required to get registered under the GST. Yes, if also the threshold limit is crossed. Number 1, person making reverse charge supply. Yes, supplier. Here the supplier, the person who is making reverse charge supply. Yes, the person who is making reverse charge supply, tax is being borne by the person who is a recipient. Then the supplier is not liable for paying tax also. On this supply supplied by the supplier, recipient is going to pay tax. So in this case also, the supplier is not required to get registered. What the supplier will do, after taking registration, all the tax is being paid by the recipient itself. So in case of reverse charge, supplier is not liable for registration, irrespective of whatever the turnover is. Now, person wholly engaged in the supply of goods or services which are not liable to tax or wholly exempt Such goods which are wholly exempt and not liable to tax, what the person will do after taking registration under GST, because the goods are not going to be taxed under GST. If wholly exempt and not liable to tax, what is the sense of taking registration? Next is the agriculturist, the farmer, to extend the supply of produce out of cultivation of land. If he is selling the agricultural produce, in that case, the agriculturalist is not liable for registration. And last one, the commission agent. When you are talking about the agent, you should see the principle. If that principal is doing non-taxable supply, or that principal is not taxable person, then why the agent will be a taxable person? So any agent of non-taxable person is not required to get registered under the GST Act. Now, coming towards section number 24, compulsory registration. Compulsory. From a single rupee of supply, you will be compulsory liable for registration. No threshold limit. Number 1, interstate taxable supplies. Interstate taxable supply. When you made any interstate taxable supply from one state to another, then you will be compulsory liable for registration, except when the goods supplied are handicraft goods. The goods supplied are notified handicraft goods, and you supplied these services. In these 2 cases, remember it. In these 2 cases, interstate taxable supply, in these 2 cases, you are not required to register. You will get the threshold limit. When the threshold limit is crossed, then you are going to get registered. Compulsory registration provision will not apply. In other cases of interstate supply, compulsory registration provision will apply 100%. Input service distributor, yes, again, input service distributor is also required to get registered under the GST Act. After that, CTP and RTP, both are required to get compulsory registered under the CGST Act, yes. And in case of CTP, only one exception is there, handicraft goods. In case of handicraft goods, threshold will be given to the person supplying such handicraft goods. Next, coming towards this portion, person deducting tax under section 51. Yes, the person who is compulsory liable to deduct tax, TDS provisions. Yes, under section 51 is required to compulsory get registered. Any agent of a taxable person, see, in section 23, agent of non-taxable person is not liable for registration. But under section 24, every agent of a taxable person, irrespective of the turnover, is compulsorily liable for registration. Now, e-commerce operator, every e-commerce operator is compulsorily liable for registration, who is collecting tax at source under section 52, and any supplier supplying through such e-commerce operator, but here also threshold limit benefit will be given. When the unregistered supplier has exceeded the threshold limit, then he is going to get registered under the act, compulsory registration. Here, to the supplier supplying through eco, to this supplier, we are giving the threshold limit benefit. Yes. Next, person required to pay tax under reverse charge. Section 23 talks about not liable for registration in case of supplier in reverse charge. And this talks about recipient is required to get compulsory registered under the act. Who is going to pay tax under reverse charge? The recipient. After that, this two, section 95 e-commerce operator and OIDAR. Best example I will give for this, Netflix. Yes, Netflix, OIDAR, or online information and database access or retrieval services from a place outside India. That is Netflix. Best example. Now, coming toward the procedure part. Now, this is a very simple procedure to get registration. Now, when you want to apply for registration, go to the common portal. Yes, GST common portal. Fill the form GST REG01. First of all, in this form, you have to fill part A. And what informations are required in part A? Part A require PAN number, mobile number, email address, and state or union territory. Now, this PAN number will be validated online by CBDT database. CBDT, direct taxes. Yes, Central Board of Direct Taxes. From their database, your PAN will be validated. And your mobile number, email will be validated through an OTP. After this validation process, you will get a TRN, temporary reference number. They will send you in SMS or email your temporary reference number. As soon as the temporary reference number is generated, now you can fill part B of that form REG01. Now, in this part B, what information are required? What is the constitution of business, your bank account number, jurisdiction, place of business, additional place of business, every requirement, Aadhaar authentication, yes, authorized signature, everything, every details you have to fill right now. Now, after filling part B, acknowledgement will be generated. But remember, in case of CTP, this acknowledgement will be generated when, along with part B, CTP has made a advance deposit of tax. Then only acknowledgement will be generated in case of CTP. And in others cases, no requirement of advance deposit of tax, acknowledgement will be generated as soon as you fill the part B. Now, this all the information now will go to the proper officer. And the proper officer is going to examine all the documents and application. Now, what will happen after the examination? After examination, if all this thing are found in order, means everything is okay. If everything is okay and you have done Aadhaar authentication, please listen it. If you have done Aadhaar authentication and everything is okay, then within 7 working days, you will get the registration certificate. Sir, what if Aadhaar authentication is not done? If Aadhaar authentication is not done, see, it is a very simple process. A link will be generated. Click on the link, put your Aadhaar number, and OTP will be generated on your Aadhaar linked mobile number. Put that OTP, submit it. Aadhaar authentication is done. If you are not doing the simple process also, then no problem. Our proper officer will come to your place. He will come to your place of business. He will properly keep an observation examination of your place of business, properly verify the document, and when he properly verify that place, yes, physical verification of that place of business will be done. From that day to 30 days, 30. From that day, within 30 days, your registration certificate will be generated. See, unnecessary. If you are not doing Aadhaar authentication, the time limit of getting registration certificate will be increased. So 7 working days if you have done Aadhaar authentication. If Aadhaar authentication not done, then within 30 days after site verification, Yes. And if everything is good, no problem. Site verification also done. That was also okay. Then you will get registration certificate in form GST REG 06. In form GST REG 06. You get registration certificate. Now, sir, this is the thing when the life is going smoothly and very good. What if there are hurdles in the life? See, the proper officer is not happy with your document submission or the application. Now he is going to reply you within 7 days again or within 30 days as the case may be. If Aadhaar authentication done, he will reply you within 7 working days, or if Aadhaar authentication not done, then 30 days. Now he is going to seek clarification, information, documents from the applicant. Now they are going to demand you more clarification, more information, more documents to make them satisfied. Now what you will do? Either reply this or not. If you replied and he is satisfied, then again within 7 days you will get the registration certificate under REG 06. But what if you didn't submitted the documents, or you submitted then also is not satisfied? Then your application will be rejected. Yes, your application will be rejected. Now this is the procedure for registration under section 25. Now, coming towards the next part, CTP and RTP. When we are talking about CTP, yes, I will directly explain the things. See, for example, from one state to another state, you are going for a participation in an exhibition. In that state, you are not having any place of business. Neither you are going to visit again and again. It may happen that right now you visited here, and next you are going to visit in Maharashtra, in Gujarat. It's not that you are going to every time visit the same state or the same place or the same place. In that state also city may different. City may be different. So this is the work of CTP, casual taxable person, who is not having any fixed place of business there and who occasionally visits that state for the purpose of business. Now, this is the same given in your definition. CTP, who occasionally, the first word, who occasionally undertakes transaction involving supply of goods or services in the course of furtherance of business, whether as a principal or agent or any other capacity in such a state where there is no fixed of place of business. No fixed place of business. I told you the same thing. In this exhibition, I have put a stall. There is no fixed of place of business and I am going to occasionally visit there. If this is done within the territory, the person is called as CTP. But if any person from out of the territory comes to India, from out of the territory comes to India, same as CTP, he will be termed as NRTP. Again, NRTP also visits occasionally and no fixed place of business is there. Along with that, no fixed place of business, no residence is there in India. So this is the difference between CTP and RTP and the meaning. Now, what is the requirement of CTP? Document required PAN, form REG 01 for registration, threshold not applicable, composition you will not get, return GSTR 1 and 3B, and ITC of all input goods or capital goods he will get. ITC will get, yes. Now talking about NRTP, document required passport, form for registration GST REG 09, threshold not applicable, composition you will not get, return GSTR 5, and ITC only on imported goods, not on other goods. Only on imported goods you will get ITC. Now some common provisions. When you want to become a CTP and RTP, registration is required at least 5 days prior to commencement of business. At least 5 days prior to commencement of business, registration will be required. Advance deposit of tax should be there along with registration. Then registration will be valid for 90 days and further extend for 90 days. An annual return is not required to be filed under the case of CTP and NRTP. Now this is all about CTP and RTP. Coming towards the effective date of registration under section 25. Now see, for example, according to section 22 or 24, today I become liable for registration. Now check whether I have applied for registration within 30 days. As today I became liable for registration. So from today I should apply for registration within 30 days. If I applied for registration within 30 days, then effective date of registration will be the date I became liable. Yes, the date of liable for registration, when I became liable for registration. Sir, what if I didn't apply within 30 days? I have applied after 30 days. So in that case, your date of registration will be the date of grant of registration certificate. Yes, there are two dates. If you applied within 30 days, then date you became liable. If you don't apply within 30 days, after 30 days you apply, then date of grant of registration certificate. Now, coming towards the ending portion of this chapter, amendment. See, I will revise it. Amendment. There are many types of amendment. Some amendments are important one, or some amendments are not so much important. Amendment means, sir, in the registration certificate, any details I need to amend. Any details I need to amend. So what will happen? Sir, any detail if I require to amend, say for example, I want to change my address. I want to change the constitution of my business. I want to change the additional place of business, or I want to change the name of the business. So anything, if any amendment is there in my registration certificate, either it will a very important amendment or not so important amendment. If it is not so important amendment, it will be covered under the non-core areas. In that non-core areas, that amendment can be carried on by the taxpayer or the registered person itself, and amended registration certificate will be generated automatically. Now, sir, what if important areas are being amended? Core areas are being amended. Now, here the proper officer will come into action. Now he's going to verify the document submitted by you, your application for amendment, everything. And if he is satisfied, then only he will issue your the amendment registration certificate. Otherwise, he will ask for documents, and if he is not satisfied, if you don't reply to his documents, your application for amendment will get cancelled. Now, this is the procedure for amendment under section 28. Now, section number 29, we are coming towards cancellation. Yes. See, what is the procedure for cancellation of registration? Either the proper officer will cancel the registration, or you on your account can cancel your registration. When the registered person can cancel the registration, and when the PO, proper officer, PO, can cancel the registration. See, first of all, we'll see the reasons when PO can cancel. Yes, PO, proper officer. The proper officer can cancel the registration on his own if the registered person has contravened the prescribed provisions. If you have contravened any of the prescribed provisions, the proper officer can cancel your registration in his own account. Or when when the registered person has not filed returns for such continuous tax periods, you are not filing return, then the proper officer will cancel. Or the registration obtained is by way of fraud, misstatement, suppression of facts. Your registration application was fraud. So in that case, or if voluntary registered person, the person who has taken voluntary registration in the act has not started or commenced his business to 6 months. Now 6 months has been lapsed and he has not started yet his business within the 6 months. So the registration will be cancelled by the PO. Sir, when the registered person can cancel the registration? When the business is discontinued or transferred as a going concern, or on the death of the proprietor transferred. Yes, amalgamation, demerger. The constitution of business is changed. Earlier it was partnership firm. Now the constitution has been changed to a company, like this, or voluntarily. In this cases, the registered person can cancel the registration. Now see the procedure. Now, when the registered person applies himself, yes, on his own account, registered person, then he should apply within 30 days of the occurrence of the event. Yes, of the occurrence of the event, he should apply within 30 days, and within 30 days will give you the cancellation order. The proper officer will issue the cancellation order. Yes, so this is the procedure. Again, when the PO cancels the registration, now here what will happen? The PO will give you an opportunity by way of show cause notice. Now, before cancellation order, one notice will be generated within 7 days of the occurrence of event. Yes, within 7 days of the occurrence of the event, and within 7 days you have to reply it. You have to reply it, and how you will reply? Either express or implied, in words or action. Either write the explanation why you are not able to properly follow the provisions of the law, why you contravene the provisions of the law, why you are not able to file the continuous tax period returns. You have to now clarify him. either in words or silently by action correct yourself. If you have not filed the returns of continuous tax period and you receive the notice, silently go and file it. Either by words or action, either by words or action, correct yourself or explain yourself. If you did this, then no cancellation will be issued. And if you have not done this and not replied to the notice, then the PO is going to issue the cancellation order for your registration and the registration will be cancelled. Now, last, section number 30. Now what, sir, if this registration was cancelled forcefully by the proper officer? I was correct. As a taxpayer, I was correct. Or I have replied to his notice also. Then also he cancelled. Yes, it may happen. In that case, section number 30, revocation of cancellation. Means in this section, you are going to revoke that cancellation order. And ultimately, when the cancellation order will be revoked, you can now revive your registration. Yes, your registration will be revived. Sir, what is the procedure? Now, when the proper officer cancels your registration and he issue the cancellation order, now from that day to 90 days, within 90 days, from that day, within 90 days, apply for revocation of cancellation. From the cancellation order date, within 90 days, apply for revocation. This 90 days can be extended to further 180 days by additional joint commissioner or commissioner. Now on the commissioner, when application received, now that commissioner is going to call that person and the proper officer and going to listen both. Yes, he will give the opportunity of being heard, and after listening both, he will pass his judgment on the basis of natural justice, principles of natural justice, and accordingly, if everything is correct on the registered person part, on the taxpayer part, then the registration order, then the cancellation order will be revoked. He will issue the order to revoke the cancellation order to the proper officer. Now this is all about the registration chapter. Here we have completed the proper revision of this chapter. Now meet you in the next video of the next topic. Up till that, bye bye to all of you. Hello students, I am here in front of you to make an announcement of the regular batches which are coming in the month of September. So our CA Inter Taxation regular batches are starting from 21st of September, and CA Foundation all subjects regular batches are starting from 25th of September, and that too in 100% English language, and that on a very shocking price. We want to know the shocking price and the details of the batch, so you can call on the given number, you can contact on the given number or message on the given number and have the details. So meet you all in the regular batches. Up till then, bye bye to all of you.